Center in Cambridge Center and in Al-Farabi Center. He published several studies in English literature and methodology. Okay, welcome, Mr. Haider. He's going to be talking about if you're confused which topic to choose to research on. He's going to explain that and hopefully remove the confusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, dear professors, dear fellow professors, and my dear students. And that here I am just seems to gap in the just replacing Dr. Adam. Yes, thank you very much. And most of the students, when they come to the fourth year and they finish the third, they look confused about the topic of writing their research paper. And really that's because when I listened to Dr. Rad's research about documenting, I really got confused. And really that, but it's really easy, not that, but authenticity and avoiding piracy is really important in writing researches. But really that most of the students, particularly the third year, fourth year, they've never tried that before. So sure, they're really scared of it. And so here I am to most of you that know the meaning of literature, the meaning of linguistics. That's because you've taken the definition of literature first year, I think, and you did work with linguistics in third and fourth years, and even applied linguistics is a branch of both perhaps. And I mean that when we were drawing the interpolating circles of between linguistics, literature, and applied linguistics. And yes, so so literature in here as first definition as the study of written works within language, includes written works that belong to many genres, ranging from poetry, dramas to novels. You know that, I know. And literature is a work of art. It's a creation. So students who find in themselves there's a lot of creativity. They've got minds, particularly imagination. Those who in Arabic or in their own languages love writing poetry, love novels, short stories, dramas, they'll be for sure desirous to tackle writing research in literature. And so in here that the creation of a world that allows the reader to not only dive into an alien world, but also allows the reader to reflect on various issues. It's not merely a recital of the ordinary speech, but contains artistic value. What really that excited me, Professor Paul Fry from Yale University states that when we are more interested in humanity, ethics, myths, spirituality thinking of the future, or just traumatized by the past, we are inclined to love literature. So people who really that find this standard or this rule suits their minds, they can tackle literature. Again, linguistics, it encompasses the study of language in relation to its nature, organization, origin, contextual impact, cognitive and dialectical formation. Linguists are concerned with the nature of languages, their systematic component, the commonalities and differences that exist among human languages, and the cognitive processes that come into play. In here that David Crystal asked about how he came to be a great linguist, and everyone knows who is really David Crystal. He said that when being multilingual child, he meant himself, really, and acquiring more languages as you grow, that will make you choose linguistics, your specialty. He wanted to say that, really, that people who know languages, more than one language, and when grown up would just be exposed to some other languages, dialects, they will be, particularly for example, that the Iraqi community is a mixture. Perhaps there are people, for example, from middle Iraq, north of Iraq, would know more than one tongue, more language. So linguists, really, real linguists, should know more than 1-2 languages to profess their research and their writings. Really that, so the difference in here between linguistics and literature, linguistics is more of a systematic study of language and human communication. Literature takes a different turn, making literary works its material for study. A key contrast between the two disciplines stems from the systematic nature associated to the fields and subjectivity. Focus on the word subjectively. In linguistics, there is less room for subjective ideas, and it is a study that is very scientific and objective, whereas literature is more subjective and vast. Sorry that applied linguistics in here is an interdisciplinary field which identifies, investigates, and offers solutions to language-related real-life problems. So in here, that applied linguistics, that those who are interested really in real-life problems, real-life issues, and some of the academic fields related to applied linguistics are education, psychology, communication research, anthropology, and sociology. And for really my students, I'd like just to add something that my professors and fellow professors really that they mentioned even better than me, but I'd like to say something for the students of the 4th year, that most of them would follow the copy-paste style just to end it. They consider it a duty for their success and end the year. But really, their research, that your research can be the first book for the future. That right now, for the future, you can be really proud of it. This is your history. So, that writing and trying just your fingers, your hands, with your pens, your ink. Well, I know that it's going to be your sweat and blood, but that will be really fruitful for the future. And yes, while you're writing your research paper, you should enjoy it. And never get just like, okay, this is just for this year and I'm going to forget it, and just like what happened in one of the graduation parties, they just threw up all the papers and the pamphlets they collected in the 4th year, just celebrating their graduation, and that was really misery. But your paper, as I told you, it's your history and your being really, as a student, bachelor student and bachelor teacher, really. Sorry, I mean that teacher for the future after ending your bachelor. Yes. And for writing after one of the professors said that how to choose your topic and how to depend on the authors and to be more authenticated in your opinions and writings. And you should always follow your supervisor's steps and tips. What he gives you, what he advises you, what she, advises you and or tells you, you have to listen to them. And even they're busy, just be patient and never get tired of. Follow them and listen to them. And you can just check all the other professors, not only yours. They will be there available for your questions and they will answer, even from out of your college. And at the end, I'd like to thank you for paying attention and thank you very much. Really thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haider. Mr. Haider enlightened us with remarks that could help us on deciding the topic, because between literature and linguistics, because you know every student has different orientations, and those two, let's say, branches are A's to or apples to oranges. They are so different. So thank you very much.
Research project. I worked on the graduation project was about an interdisciplinary subject that is related to English language teaching and computer-assisted language learning. So it's a mix between teaching English and computer science per se. So the subject or the title of the research is utilizing ASR technology to enhance EFL learners' intelligibility. In short, we have worked on, or we have proposed a way of using automatic speech recognition, the technology that you can find in your phone when you talk to Siri or use Google Assistant. So we use this technology to make the pronunciation of students better. So when a student says a word, the device will analyze this word and say whether you are saying the word correct or incorrect. So thanks to the great help of our supervisor, Mr. Haider Mansouri, and the hard work of my partner, I managed to travel to the United States to participate in an international conference that is AZ Call conference at Arizona State University. Another thing to mention is that the research was accepted for participation and publishing in the proceedings of another conference in Iran, and my partner, she's right there, was offered a fully funded scholarship by the host university. It is worth mentioning that the research was part of a local conference for 2018 students' graduation project organized by the University of Kufa, and I was part of it, and we achieved the 3rd place and was honored by the Dean of the faculty. So this is a brief story, let's say, of how research writing can open doors and make a great experience. Now, another thing to say, or the last thing that I want to say is, I encourage students, especially 4th year students, to take research seriously. So a lot of students think that it's just a part of graduation. No, it's not that case. It opens door. It's an opportunity for you to be a researcher in the future. Thank you for listening.
Speak with us about research summary. Yes, Mr. Ron, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Today we'll be talking about sampling, okay, in detail, kind of detail, because I noticed that a lot of papers fail to mention the technique of sampling that they follow in their research papers, okay? And for that, sometimes we have to analyze the paper and try to find out the sampling technique. This is very important. Before we go into details, let me explain some key terms in sampling techniques. First, we have something called population. Okay, population is all subjects that are within the researcher's interest. For example, we want to conduct a study on the effect of, for example, the effect of songs, English songs, on students, ESL students, Iraqi students. The problem is that we don't have access to all students, all ESL students in Iraq. All students, all ESL students are called the populational study, okay? So, this is the problem. We can't have access to the population. What we have to do is we have to pick a sample from the population. How do we do that? Okay, we choose a small representative subset of the population. Okay, we choose a ratio. We can't have all these students. For example, this is the population. This is all the targeted population of English students in Iraq. Okay, but can we choose all of them? Of course not. We narrow down the population. We have the accessible population, all English students in Najaf. Maybe this is probably not hard. Alright, and from the Najafi population, we choose all English students at the University of Kufa. However, there are different types of sampling, okay? As we said, this is called sampling, but there are different types of sampling. The first type is types of sampling, probabilistic sampling. Okay, we have sampling methods, we have probability sampling methods, and we have non-probability sampling methods. What's the meaning of probability sampling methods? Here we have, the first type is simple sampling. For example, now we have 100 people in this room. I could give you a number for each from 1 to 100, and then we choose sample numbers, sample people, regardless with the level of education, the qualifications, and so on. Okay? After that, we do a pre-test and a post-test to level or to equalize the level of education, the level of mentality, and so on. So we have a homogeneous sample. Second, we have systematic sampling. It is also random, but what is the difference? For example, we have a number from 1 to 100, and then we say we're going to choose only the even numbers, فقط الأعداد الزوجية, or we're going to choose only the odd numbers. Please, may I have your attention, please? Please keep silent because there is kind of noise in the hall. All right. After that, we're going to say, or we can say, for example, we're going to
serious offense. Okay, it violates the integrity of the academic content. So you have to be careful with that. It is not tolerable and it is not acceptable by all criteria. Okay. Now, you need to be aware of the forms of plagiarism. Okay, there are various forms of plagiarism, and they are, as you can see, the first one is the verbatim plagiarism, and in such type, you copy exactly, like word by word, the information or ideas or opinions from a whatever source. Now, this is verbatim plagiarism. Again, you take, you copy a text word by word, sentence by sentence, exactly without any change. And again, keep in mind, you're doing that without giving credit to the author, to the original author. Now, this is the first type, when you copy something word by word. The other one, it has to do with paraphrasing. Now, you plagiarize, and in such type, people plagiarize. However, they don't really copy exact words, exact expressions or sentences. What they do, they read a text, then they understand it, then they phrase it, rephrase it, paraphrase it using their own words. Now again, without giving credit. And still, whatever, if you do this, even though you used your own words, your own understanding, your own language, however, if you don't provide a proper citation, then again, it is considered as a plagiarism, which is a very, very big no. The other type of okay. The other type of plagiarism, it's called collision. In such type, students help each other, okay, or they just seek help of others in general, let it be students or other professionals, and they fail to cite. Either, here's the thing, I should have mentioned that plagiarism that is not giving credit, proper credit, it could be either intentional or unintentional. Either way, it is still serious, and you shouldn't do it. Therefore, you have to be extra careful in representing, in citing, and in depending and building on others' work. Now again, this type, the third type of plagiarism, when students seek help of other people, of other students, other professors, other professionals, and again, they don't provide proper citation. Again, this type of plagiarism is also serious and should be avoided. The other one, that is the inaccurate citation. Inaccurate citation, that is again a very serious offense, in which students who provide citation, they refer to the original work. However, it is not accurate. Like, they don't provide accurate information. Or sometimes they don't represent the writer accurately, okay? Again, such type of plagiarism should be avoided too. That is, in representing, you have to represent the writer accurately, and you have to provide accurate information regarding the source on which you built your understanding. And the other type, that is the failure, the other type of plagiarism, that is the failure to acknowledge assistance. Okay? Now, this one is different from the third one, in which the third one could be like, you work with someone, but you steal their efforts, you don't refer to their efforts. But the third one, no, you just seek the assistance of different people, of other individuals, and again, you fail to acknowledge their assistance. And again, such conduct is considered serious offense, and it is considered as a violation of the academic integrity. The last one, that is the auto-plagiarism. Auto-plagiarism. Mostly, professionals fall victim for such kind of plagiarism, in which they depend on their own work, okay? However, they they borrow ideas or they adopt ideas from their own work, but they don't cite properly. And here's the thing: their own work could be, should be actually, if we were to consider auto-plagiarism, if they have already published certain research paper, whatever, and they cite something or they take something without proper citation, even though the work is originally theirs, then this is again considered as an offense and it should be avoided. Even though you're doing that, you're taking from your own ideas, still you have to refer to, you have to cite whatever you adopted. Now, later towards the end of the presentation, there will be like a brief chart showing you what to cite, so it would be better if we just keep these types of plagiarism in mind. Now, just in case, I have already stated that plagiarism is very serious offense, but you need to consider the consequences, okay, other than the academic consequences. Now, in general, as a sophisticated society, as an individual, in a well-informed society, we should depend on sources that have solid information, solid knowledge. Okay? Now, when professionals, writers, researchers plagiarize, that is when they misrepresent others, the work of others, or when they steal the work of others, okay, then this would result in inaccurate distribution of knowledge. And again, that is not acceptable. I'm talking about the society in general. This is not acceptable. Therefore, plagiarizing when professionals, researchers, even when the media do that, this sign, plagiarism, is a sign of incompetence and dishonesty. And we all know that both of these, incompetence and dishonesty, are not acceptable by the society. I'm talking about the moral of this society, the ethics of the society, and when I say society, that is across all societies, across all cultures. Okay, so the consequence of plagiarizing results in the competence and dishonesty of the person who plagiarized. Let that person be, again, a researcher, a teacher, other professionals like in business or whatever. Again, this means that that person is incompetent and dishonest. And both of these equalities are socially refused. Okay? So this is one of the consequences that you should keep in mind. The other one is that there are actual serious penalties for people who plagiarize. Not only within the academic setting, I'm talking about even within corporation, within the realm of corporations, or even with the realm of government agencies. Their plagiarism, if found, it results in very severe penalties. People could be fired. They could be they could be taken to the courts of law, and within the academic settings, for students, whether for undergraduate students or graduate students, plagiarism could result in their failure in the class, or even worse, it could result in their dismissal. So you have to be extra careful when it comes to representing others and building on the understanding of others.